Hello, I'm Ron Miscavige, and I'm here to talk to you again about a lesson in life, whatever you want to call it. I will admit that I've been thinking about the subject that I'm going to talk to you about today for a little while. That's the reason I haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks. I just wanted to make sure I had my thoughts gathered on it so I wouldn't be giving you a bunch of bullshit. And the information I'm going to give you is basically very much on solid ground. So in order to illustrate that, as usual, I'm going to tell you a story. And this has to do with my first wife's family. And I'm not picking on them or anything. I'm just saying that she had a couple uncles. Well, she had a lot of them. I think in her father's side, there was, 12 kids. And two of her uncles has to do with this story. One was called Victor and the other one was called Albert. Now, Victor had a bar, and he called it Victor's Friendly Tavern. Because he had a bar, there was, in Pennsylvania, they have these places that sell to bars and restaurants, and they sell wholesale. So Victor had an inn with a place called Shamokin Provision, which was in a town about 8 miles away. And one day, Albert, his brother, said to Victor, "Victor, do you mind if I use your contact name to buy some cheese down at Shamokin Provision?" Victor says, no problem. Go ahead and do it. So Albert went down and he bought some cheese, and then he came back and he said, went to see Victor, and he says, "Hey, thanks a lot." He said, "I got the cheese and I appreciate you letting me do that." And Victor says, "What did you get?" And I don't know, maybe he got some Parmesan cheese. And he says, "Yeah, I got some Parmesan." And Victor says, "What did they charge you?" He says, $2.10 a pound. He says, "It's a great price. How about selling me a piece?" Albert says, "Sure." So they cut off a piece, and Victor had a scale at his bar, weighed it, and he paid Albert the money. So later on that day, Victor called up Shamokin Provision, and he said, "Listen, I appreciate you selling that cheese to my brother for $2.10 a pound." And he says, "Well, wait a minute. No, we sold it to him for $2 a pound." Victor says, "No, it was $2.10 because I bought a piece from my brother." And he said, "Listen, it was $2 a pound." That ticked Victor off. He didn't speak to Albert anymore. Now listen, he didn't speak to him for years. Now this is all over Albert lying to Victor, which was wrong. He should have said, "Okay, I paid $2 a pound. It's your own brother. What the fuck? You're not going to make, you want 10 cents a pound profit? What the hell is that?" Regardless, they didn't talk. So now, this is years later, and it's a summertime. And the family is gathered at the old homestead. Now, that's a term that they use in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. Whereas it's the house where all the kids were raised. So it's a hot summer day. As a matter of fact, you can almost see the heat rising off the roads. It was that hot. And sitting on the porch is a bunch of the brothers and sisters. And Victor is on the porch with his siblings. A little in the distance, you see a car pulling up, and it's Albert. Albert gets out of the car, starts walking toward the house, sees Victor, and turns around and starts going back to the car. Now, I'm up visiting with my family that day, too. So I hurried over to where Albert was, and I said, "Albert, come on, man. What the fuck? You guys are brothers. You're not going to not talk to each other as long as you live. This is bad." And Albert says, "Yeah, but he's this and that." And I says, "Come on." He says, "Well, ask Victor if he'll do it." So I went back over to the porch, and they're about 40 yards apart. I says, "Victor, Albert said he'll make up if you will." Victor says, "He said that?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "Well, okay." So I go over to Albert, and I says, "Victor says okay," and Albert says, "Well, all right." So now, here comes the showdown. They start walking to each other, and you can see they're both walking real slow. It's a hot fucking day. They get within a couple feet of each other, and Victor says, "Ah, what the hell?" Puts out his hand. Albert says, "Down on your fucking knees." Victor says, "Fuck you, man." They walk apart. That's the end of it. Now, that went on for some years, and thank God they did get over it and start talking to each other before they died. But now look, in order to avert that, all one of them would have had to say is, "I was wrong." Victor for saying, "Look, Albert, I know you got the cheese for 10 cents a pound more than you said. It's okay with me. I was wrong for not talking to you." Albert could have said, Hey, Victor, I fucking lied to you. I got it for $2 a pound. I apologize. End of scene. They would have not been on the outs for years and years and years. So, what is this? This necessity to be right at all costs. It's like, listen, I find myself doing it, and that's what I've been thinking about, because I know this phenomena. So if you know about something, when it's happening to you, you may be wanting to go with your normal way of operating. Fuck you, I'm not going to be wrong, you know? But you can catch yourself and say, oh, wait a minute now. Why am I doing this? And I come up with an idea, and of course this is not just my idea, because I've read a lot of books on philosophy and what people have said about life, and I've observed life too, and I'm at least capable of observing something in life and saying, that's what is, and if I was participating in it in a good way or a bad way, I can judge myself. It's an important thing. But this desire to be right is, you're willing to be wrong is going to be one of the hardest fucking things you will ever do, okay? Now, how do you get to a point where you could say to yourself, you know what, I was wrong. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I'll tell you how. And it's a kind of an aura that you have to have about yourself, of being so self-confident that you could make a mistake and be wrong about it, and you say, oh, well, I was wrong. How do you do that? I'll tell you one of the ways you're going to do it. You got to be industrious. You got to study about life. You got to apply yourself. In other words, follow these life lessons. Here's another one. Start following them. You will get to a point where you're going to be so self-confident and not flaunt it. Not like, some of these fucking football players who will, catch a pass. They're getting paid a couple $1 million to play, and then they celebrate because they caught a pass. I should celebrate because, you know what? I picked up a pen today, all right? Now, getting back to this. If you apply yourself and continually do this, you're going to start being successful. And the more successful you are on these various projects and endeavors that you get involved in, you're going to become self-confident, but you don't have to flaunt it. Because you start flaunting it and you become arrogant, who the fuck wants to deal with you? I don't, all right? But you can gain that attitude about yourself where you don't give a shit what anybody thinks, because you know that most of your decisions are right. So it's not like, okay, oh, gee, I did that. I'm sorry, I was wrong. That's simple, all right? That's simple. I got some notes here. I want to make sure I'm giving you all the data I was looking at. And yeah, I think that's the point. I don't want to keep talking on it because I think I've made the point. Apply yourself. Study if you're going to do something. Read up about it. Accomplish the thing you've set out to do. You do enough of these things and you can gain an air of self-confidence that nobody can shake. And then your decisions, right or wrong, are your decisions. And when I say admitting you're wrong, I'm not saying, well, yeah, I did that, but the reason I did it was, no, you're justifying why you were wrong. In other words, still asserting your wrongness, your rightness in the face of being wrong. I'm going to stop talking because I think I made the point. But apply yourself, study, be industrious. And then, let me tell you another one. Help others. Help other people. That will pay off in dividends. Many times you're going to help somebody, and that in itself is going to give you personal rewards that you can't measure in any way other than experience it for yourself. So that's today's life lesson. I hope you enjoyed it and apply it. And I wish you all the success in the world. And if you want to help out with this endeavor, you can become a Patreon. Go to my website, therealronmiscavige.com. You can see the other things I do in addition to doing these life lessons, which is interviewing other people. And I'm also a writer. And I'm also a musician too. But anyway, that's today's life lesson, and I've enjoyed talking to you, and I really hope you benefit from this. And good luck to all of you. I will see you on the next lesson. Bye-bye now.